there. This is Allison Whiteacre, and this is an episode of Regarding Change. Each week, I interview an extraordinary everyday person about some major transition that they've gone through, and we dig into the nitty-gritty of what they've been going through, how they've been dealing with it, the ups and the downs, and the sideways jumps, and taking a look from all angles to see how different amazing people handle change. So today we have Daryl Sweeney.
Hey guys.
Most importantly, Daryl Sweeney is a dad to Samuel and Noah and husband to his wife Meredith. For the last 20 years, he's launched and scaled multiple businesses, helped raise millions of dollars as a co-founder of a grassroots charity raising money to cure cystic fibrosis, and developed marketing tactics and strategies for clients nationwide. He's taken all of those experiences and harnessed them to help his clients as a professional coach. We'll talk more about it in this episode of Regarding Change. Hi, Daryl.
How are you?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I am great. Thank you for having me on. I have been looking forward to this conversation for a while now.
And so have I. So I get to ask you about a major transformation that you've made in your life, or some risks that you've taken that you've had to figure out your way through, not always knowing exactly what you're doing. So what transition or transformation?
Yeah, it's interesting because as you're asking that question, I think to myself, well, geez, that describes just about my whole life. But recently, it's what I do for a living, so for me, and so many of us, our identities are tied to our careers and our professions, and that is no different for me. So I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've built a number of different businesses in a number of different industries. But recently, I've decided to take a huge leap and step out into the world of professional coaching. So I left the world of marketing and growing businesses as a marketing strategist and consultant, and am stepping into the world of business coaching. So that is a transition that I am squarely in the middle of. So I am by no means on the other end of it. I'm squarely in the middle of it, and I think about it every single day.
So just in a nutshell, what are the risks that you're taking, and what are some of the rewards?
Yeah, that's actually a brilliant question. There's a lot at risk for me. So I'm a guy who believes in, I'm very intentional about the way I live my life. As you read in the bio, my 4-year-old Noah, 5-year-old Samuel, like they're everything to me. They're my world. And I'm very intentional in building a life that allows me to be the kind of dad that I want to be to them. I'm very intentional about building a life that allows me to be the kind of husband I want to be to my wife, to be the kind of business owner that I want to be, to live the kind of life that I want to live. So what's at risk is joy. What's at risk is freedom. What's at risk is showing up to life with a vibrancy and an energy that has me wanting to knock down walls, versus doing a career that I was good at, right? So I owned a marketing and technology business. I was good at it. I made great money. I was considered an expert. I gave talks all around the country. But I started to feel kind of dead inside. And making this transition into coaching is an opportunity for me to live my best life while helping others live theirs.
That's great. So would you say that is your why? That is the thing that gets you up in the morning and gets you going to work every day, even when you're not quite feeling like it?
Yeah. I mean, it's to know that I can have it all, right? And that doesn't mean monetarily. It doesn't mean that everything goes right for me all the time, but to know that I can show up and truly feel like I'm living my best life, that I'm building a business I'm passionate about, and I'm able to spread that and help other people do the same. I mean, gosh, Allison, so many of my clients they own businesses, or they manage teams, they lead people, they go to work every day and they bust their butts, and they're brilliant people. But something's missing, or something's challenging, or something is making it harder than they think it should be, right? And so for me to have the opportunity to show up and help them push through that, to get to the other side of that and build the business that they love, to have the professional situation, the professional setup with their team or whatever their work may be that they love, that much like me, they want to run into, and watch that also spill over into their personal life to impact the way they show up in their family, with their friends, for themselves. Yeah, that's everything to me.
Wow, that's amazing. I can imagine that your clients are really inspired by you, because it sounds like you're helping them build a successful business, but because you're a life purpose coach as well, you tie in their happiness and their goals and their whys into their bottom line as well.
Yeah, that's a good observation. And, one thing I often get is, well, what makes you different? And the thing I tell people is, I don't know if it's just our society here in the United States, or if it's global, but I think so often we begin to compartmentalize kind of work and our personal lives. And one of the things that just became an insight to me that changed everything was, as much as we try to separate them, try to compartmentalize them, they impact each other. They're connected. So there are a lot of coaches out there. There are a lot of consultants. There are a lot of companies that will work with clients to dig into how to take your business to the next level, how to make more money, how to grow, how to find your next client or customer, right? But they never talk about your personal life. They have no idea the challenges that's going on at home. They don't ever ask or talk about work-life balance. They don't really talk about what you want personally. Mm-hmm. And for me, I don't think you can talk about one without talking about the other. So I've seen the difference it makes for clients, and I really hope that by building a vision for our life and for our business, right? So focusing on your personal life doesn't mean you can't have the business you want. Doesn't mean you can't make the money you want to make, scale to the heights you want to scale. You can have all that while also having a great personal life. So hopefully the work that I'm doing today and will continue to do allows people to truly have it all.
Yeah. And having it all is an option.
It is.
Yeah. So what is one thing that used to scare you, but now empowers you?
I feel like there's been a lot of those on this coaching journey. The thing that comes to mind when you ask that question is, maybe I'll tie it to an insight I had, something I learned about myself along the way. And that is, as I was planning to launch this business, I was kind of going through all the business processes that I've done in all my other businesses, right? So I'm building the website, and I'm writing the content, and I'm figuring out the verbiage. I'm doing all the things I have to do to get out there and make this announcement that I'm going to be a coach. And I felt really good about it. I felt like I was moving forward and making progress. Well, it just hit me one day that I was always looking to talk to one more person. I was always looking to reach out to one more thought leader or expert to tweak the website or change the language or talk about it in a different way. And so for me, something that scared me that I didn't even know scared me at the time was getting out there. I was doing all these little things and making all these little changes, but what was really going on was they made it to where I didn't have to tell anybody what I was doing. I didn't have to tell anybody that I was going to be a coach, that I was launching this business. There was nothing at risk, right? So that would probably be my answer to that, is just the idea of getting out there. And once I noticed that, I was playing it safe, I was keeping the ship in the harbor, mm-hmm. It allowed me to kind of throw caution to the wind and realize that anytime I caught myself trying to be perfect, it was in actuality another opportunity where I was hiding. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, I'm hiding. I see it. I have awareness around what's going on. So let's just get out there. Let's put it out there and see what happens.
Fall flat in your face and pick yourself up and keep moving.
That's right.
Yeah. I guess some people keep chasing after certifications. It's like, I'll launch my business when I've got another certification or that kind of thing. But I guess one of the scariest things for all of us is just getting out there and being seen.
That's it. That's it. One for me, it was those voices in my head that were, it was the imposter syndrome picking up, right? It was the, why will they trust me? Right. And I had a sure thing. I was seen as an expert in marketing. Mm-hmm. I was a thought leader. I was, I would speak on stages and do all kinds of things. So to push that all aside and kind of start over and say, hey, now trust me as a coach. Trust that I can help you in your business, that I can help you in your life. It felt scary as hell to me, right? Because I kept thinking, well, what if they don't? But again, you've already asked me what was at risk. Everything was at risk. Joy was at risk, right? Uh-huh. So if I never got out there, then I would have left all that on the shelf. So by getting out there, by exposing myself, and pushing past that fear, that idea of perfectionism, as you said, being seen, just has helped me grow in so many ways. And I'm not scared of it anymore because I now know what's really going on. And I don't want to live a life where I hide.
So one last question for you, and then you can put me in the hot seat. So as a fellow coach, albeit one that coaches business professionals and entrepreneurs, what are some of the changes that you have seen in some of your clients?
Yeah, I think some of them we've already talked about, and that's kind of the beauty of the journey is they're experiencing some of the same things that I'm learning about myself through the journey. But again, I'll go back to joy. I'll go back to happiness. I'll go back to choice. I truly believe that because of the work that my clients and I do together, they bring a new level of awareness into the workplace, into their lives. And because of that awareness, they're able to make choices. So you said earlier, we get to choose whether we have it all. It's a choice. Well, you can't make that choice if you're not aware that the choice even exists, right? So with this new awareness, they're able to step into that choice. And when they're able to step into choice, when they're able to decide how they feel, decide how they show up, decide where they want their business to go, decide the kind of relationship, the kind of work-life balance they have, decide where they put their energy and focus. When they have that kind of choice, that walks them straight into a newfound freedom that some of them are tasting for the very first time in their lives, right? And when you get a taste of that freedom, you crave more of it. And I'm watching people step forward in their business. Now, we're doing all the practical business stuff. We're launching new marketing campaigns. We're launching social media efforts. We're figuring out new strategies to go out and get new client acquisition. We're launching products. We are forming new partnerships, right? We're scaling, we're increasing revenues. We're hitting all the business benchmarks and goals. But along the way, my clients are finding out things about themselves and about the way they show up that's allowing them to walk straight into that freedom.
I'll hire you.
Bring it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really inspiring. And I can imagine that your clients are very happy that they have you as their coach. So what question would you like to ask me?
Can you tell I'm excited for this part? I'm like, okay, enough about me. I want to ask you a question.
Well, in general, I find you to be excited about life. And I think that's really what we're talking about here is life.
Yeah, and I am. And so that's kind of my question for you, right? It's I consider you someone who, helps people navigate this space of change. And I thought about being a coach for a very long time. I knew it was my next career. I just didn't know when the right time was to make that leap, to step into that change, right? So, and when I look back over my life, I can see one or two different areas where I was kind of facing that decision. So I know you help people kind of navigate the changes in their life, the change they're stepping into. But before somebody gets to that point, they often find themselves at a point where it's, should I or shouldn't I, right? Should I make this change? Should I walk away from being a marketing expert and be a coach? Or, should I stay in this relationship or leave this relationship, or stay in this job or move to a new job? So when we find ourselves in that in between, what advice do you have to navigate that place and kind of make the go or no go decision?
Well, first of all, I think what I would do with a client is to get this idea that where they're at right now is exactly where they're supposed to be at, that this is not something that you need to be running away from or holding on to. So we just start to take a look. We take things apart a little bit and take a look at, what would be the pain of staying the same. So the client would write down a list of all the things that would be, the pain of staying the same. And then make another list of what would be the gain of staying the same. So we're not actually trying to outweigh one or the other, because a lot of times when I work through these yes or no decisions with clients, well, I don't have any investment in the outcome because I'm a coach. I'm not a consultant or a mentor in this situation. So we look at the pain of staying the same, we look at the gain of staying the same, and then we look at the pain of changing and the gain of changing. So it's called the pain gain model, and it works really well. Sometimes we end up with a hell yeah, I'm going to go for it. And often when I see people, they're at a place where the pain of staying the same is more than the pain of the idea of changing. So it's good in the beginning if there's still some uncertainty. And I've worked with people that it had been going around in their minds, it's like, should I do this? Should I not? They make pro and con lists, and it never really resolves. It just keeps going around in circles. So this helps, and it helps having a coach that doesn't have any investment in the outcome. They're just there to help you see what it is, and then you can have some certainty on it. So pain gain model is a good one.
I love that. I mean, it sounds like you're able to really help people key in and bring awareness to, so often you think about a change, it's like, yeah, the new job, the new shiny thing over here, well, that's all gain. And this other thing is all pain. But it sounds like that you really break it apart. So you experience the pain and the gain of both situations, which walks them into a whole new level of awareness. And there's probably some insights they hadn't thought about.
Well, and then there's also, we also do the pain gain model for somebody who, the first time I worked with the pain gain model with a coach was 5 years ago when I was just having a really hard time quitting smoking. And so she finally sat me down and we went through the pain gain model, and I just had the clarity and the certainty by the time that it was over with that I just wasn't going to keep playing those games of smoking and then quitting and smoking and quitting and smoking.
Yeah.
But I also do it with people in relationships too, because relationships are complex things, and there's a lot of gains and there can be a lot of pains in relationships. And sometimes people aren't ready to break up a relationship, or they do the pain gain model and they realize that they need to do some work on themselves, or, that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Daryl. Thanks for coming on regarding change. So how can folks find out more about you?
I'm easy. I throw myself out there. It's what you talked about earlier. I make it easy to be seen. So you can always find me online over at my website at darylsweeney.com, and that's DERYL Sweeney.com. So you can find more about me, what I do, and the coaching services I provide. And then I'm always hopping around Facebook. I do a live show every Wednesday on my Facebook page. So look me up, find me, friend me, and connect with me there.
Awesome. We'll put those links in the description too.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on. This is, like I said, I've been looking forward to this all week, and it did not disappoint. So this was a lot of fun.
This is great. I love it. It's a great job for me because I get to interview extraordinary people, and you're one of them.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Allison Whiteacre and Daryl Sweeney, and we'll catch up with you next time. Bye.